Alright, welcome back to another Play and Explain. So far we have 3 1Ks, we have 1 500. It's going to be a 4-table session for me today. I'm going to be going in and out, seeing what you guys prefer. I don't really mind recording with 4 tables. The issue is it could be a bit frustrating as sometimes there might not be enough to talk about. But I think if I look for it, there will always be things to talk about, so I just have to get better at recording with it. And yeah. I'm gonna mix it up. Some days will be 6, some days will be 4. I post every day, so if people want to watch 4 can watch. I mean, I prefer if everyone feels like they can watch every video, but off the short stack, I don't see how we ever just. I mean, you want to build a flattening range here, honestly, when he's this short. I'm gonna call the king queen on a 28. I have zero clue, but I'm gonna assume you want to build flats. Because there's going to be hands that you want to play, but you don't want to get all in. On a 32 here versus 2.3, I'm going to let it go. It could be incorrect, but damn, that's unfortunate. Gonna have some king of clubs we check. Call. Gonna have to find another table here after this one breaks. Maybe I'll sit here and play a couple hands heads up and hope someone joins. I'll full-time bank every hand. I'm gonna go for the overbet. Here we have decent blockers. On a 96, that's the first number I saw. I know that was probably not the first number rolled. I'm gonna check it here. I guess we'll check. On a 58, just gonna fold versus the 2.5. Gonna be high c-betting here, high frequency, so we'll bet. Heads up, I'm no expert, but oh. As played on the turn here, I think I like half pot because I think the hands we're gonna be targeting have an easier time folding versus B75. I'm kind of just spitballing in here, but yeah. Here definitely gonna want to play a little bit check backs. He has 3s and 5s pure. We basically have him like 10% of the time, so we're gonna need to be a little more on the passive end. And here when we get raised, we have a pretty good hand. Two 3-bet here. The issue is obviously getting shoved on, but we definitely check some Jack 10 on the flop and play it like this. I think we just lose. I'm blocking 5, 6, and Jack 10. It's kind of okay. I think we just lose here. It's like Ace 7, Ace 9. Yeah. Seem like the type of hand we're up against. I don't mind the river shove. You can go either way. Having a Jack is nice because you block Jack 10 in a way, which is still a hand he can have even when a Jack comes off. You probably just have to go with this hand. You just don't have enough bluffs here by the river. I'll run this one. I'm not too familiar with this spot. I know we're going to be checking flop high frequency, so when he re-raises us here, we're going to have more straights than he does, so we definitely want to be 3-betting pretty aggressively. So I don't mind taking the one with the Jack blocker. Kind of just an unfortunate spot. I wonder if I'm supposed to follow through on the river or not. Kind of unfortunate, actually. I think we're supposed to barrel through. Preferred. Yeah, that one is unfortunate. I wish I shoved. I'm trying to figure out if there's another game running we can get in. Oh, this one we can get in. Hopefully, if If I show the HUD sets, I'm just gonna record the video. I really need to get a video done today. I've already had some interesting spots I can review, so I don't mind it. I'm gonna be 1/3 with range on this board. Don't think you need to play a check range there. Oops. Expose some notes that are taken 3 years ago, and the guy's changed his playstyle completely since then. But I'm trying to think here if there's like a hide HUD option, but I'm gonna be checking this one with the double bad suit. And here on the turn, versus the fish going on the half pot, I'm just gonna go big and then bluff river. I don't really think he's that strong when he goes half pot. Oh my god. Do we just bet for half pot and hope we get raised? Do we go all in? Let's hope he doesn't have a queen, because I'll be tilted. Oh, why don't I just shove, man? I was thinking like it's probably worth the shove. I'm so mad at myself. I bet a size that I think he would raise first. I kind of put him on a draw when he went half pot, which is why my plan was to raise and then flip river, because he only went to half, and usually fish size up when they're bigger. When the 10 comes off here, how do I not go all in? Cost myself 600 bucks. Just thinking they would raise a queen. And you kind of get with the timing tell that he had one too and everything, and it's the line made sense to have a queen as well. I don't think king's flats here. Like, we're not deep enough. Where even if I rolled a 0. Off the stack depth, you can probably get away with like sometimes flatting it, but I'm gonna go with the flat. Maybe it levels him with queens here. I'm trying to think. If I 4-bet here, like this guy has no more money left, so I don't know. I'd rather get this guy to punt. Oh, well now let's hope he doesn't have queens. Gonna call here. If he shoves, it's close. I don't see why he shoves with a... Oh my god. I'm just running it once. I don't care. I'm too tilted maybe. Just gonna range bet here on this board. I don't know if it's a range bet or not. I'm pretty sure it's probably fine to bet 9s here though. And we're drawing dead, basically. Oh, I can't believe I didn't shove earlier. Oh, this is not a 1k. This is the only 1k. Ah, man. I think here we're just all in. I don't see the point of playing a 4-betting range. He's going to be c-betting high frequently. I don't mind turning this one into a bluff. Blocking pocket fours. He has them probably more than 10% of the time here because of his position. But I think this hand is a pretty good hand to turn into a bluff. I think you want to be polar when you bluff here. Like, I don't know how much we're really raising a hand like Jack 9. I think we're mainly raising around the 2-pair and stuff advantage we have here on this board and the set advantage. Generally in a bigger pot for stacks, he's going to be more... We could sometimes limp this, but I'm not as studied as I want. I'm getting more and more studied on the limping line. Probably be more comfortable playing it on recording. Off recording, I kind of just play it because I don't really care. And I want to learn it. While I'm recording, I'm trying to stick to a little bit more of what I know because I don't want to spread misinformation. And I also can't exploit as much. Here, I don't see the downside in just giving up a hand like this. Just 0 playability. You're just basically hoping he folds with bad blockers to his calling range, and you're blocking his folding range. Just gonna lose that one. So mad I didn't go all in with the king queen though. On a 100 here, we'll be 3-betting this one to 7.5. $70 and obviously 3-betting the nines. Here you can polarize to overbet or check or big bet. Think I prefer overbet on this drier texture. And ace 10's probably going to be one of the candidates that wants to just be as aggressive as possible. Checking back this one, obviously. My opponent has a good amount of jack X, jack 8, jack 9. We want to see bet this board at a high frequency, but I think this card with the diamonds, the 10 of diamonds especially, we're just going to put it in the check back range. And yeah, we have a huge king queen advantage because the opponent's going to be folding almost all his king queen on the flop. So on the river here, we can go for an overbet again. Probably even bigger. Ace 10 might want to go in the smaller bet strategy. I'm just going to be bluffing my cards super aggressively for that reason. So, this actually isn't an open. I could see this hand wanting to c-bet, so I'll go with the 1/3 here. Just too much equity. On a 65, I think this hand's mostly folding, so I'm just going to toss it. On these paired boards, you can be very aggressive. Having the ace of spades also motivates me to. The 5, you might have some cards with the 5. But in general, on these paired boards, you can be aggressive. Your opponent's going to have a lot of pocket pairs. We both have 9s, but you're going to have a huge advantage with your better pocket pairs. The 7's a terrible card for you, though, because he has 9s and 7s now. And 7s, he has like 7s a lot in his range. I don't know if 7s is necessarily in our flop bid 75 range. So we're going to be checking now. And folding. Plan was to barrel off on better runouts. This one's just not it. I would check a lot of my overpairs here on the 7 too. Because a lot of your hands that bet flop, that check. I would advise normally barreling through there in practice because people usually are weighted too much towards these pocket pairs. I could see this one calling sometimes. See a lot of your opponents jack and 10 x to bet flop. I mean, our blockers are terrible, but the thing is the ace does have added equity on a jack. I'm going to call this. Call me crazy. Yeah. I'm just going to fold now. I honestly wouldn't call it if you bet a bigger size, but he probably just has a jack. Unless he has a lot of air there because the range is wide. But I just don't think he's finding a bluffer that size. You could get into leveling war, but I'd say like usually in the leveling war it doesn't go that deep most of the time. Most of the time, the obvious bet size that your opponent's trying to make is usually the one. A lot of times people have no bluffs for a size and they hope you level yourself. That's what they're relying on. At the end of the day, I doubt my hand's a call. I have to call some calls folds, and that's probably one. I called with the equity that I can improve a little bit. On a 59, I'm just going to fold this one. Actually, maybe we're defending sixes. Sixes is probably a little too good. I don't know, though. On a 56, I'll flat the jacks and lead on this board. He's going to be checking back a lot. There's a lot of hands you can get value from on the flop that jacks normally wouldn't otherwise get. Here I'll bet 1/3. You get values from 5s and we protect our hand. Don't expect to be too good too often. We block a lot of his folding range, 9-6 suited, 6-7 suited, or 6-7 off if he defends it, because some people do. And I think we either fold or raise, and I'm going to go with the... Wow, we have double 6-5 suited blocker. That's kind of slightly appealing. It would be more appealing if the river was something different. The thing is, we rep pocket hands very well. The issue is we don't have a 10. I'm gonna go for it. The spot's like so underbluffed. This has to be the most underbluffed spot in the history of poker. So generally, if the spot's underbluffed, it's overfolded. And I think my blockers are okay. And I gotta find something to bluff there. I'm just gonna fold this one. How long am I recording for? 15 minutes. Oh, the game is broken. I guess I'll just go with the call here with no club. Yeah. Ace-6 gonna be an open. The ace-deuce is the only one that doesn't. One should be b75 or check here, pot or check. He goes with the 1/3 here, and I'm going to. I think this stand doesn't technically mind calling. I just don't really believe the 1/3. I feel like it's a worse 5 a good amount of the time here. Easy hand to check on. We kind of have the nuts here. He has a lot of ace high that he floats to. Our range is going to consist of a lot of weirder hands here. I'm going to block bet because you can have a lot of 9x here that raise now tries to give value, and maybe it induces something crazy. I don't really believe that he's bluffing the spot. Maybe, because maybe he raises his jack X on the flop. I don't know. I kind of lost track of that hand, was too focused on the heads up. I'm going to check this river. Let's see if this guy wants to play. It's three-handed. If not, I'll play a couple hands of heads up and sit out. On an 84 with the fish behind, I'll call. Not to mention an 84 is. But I would say this hand probably does go down in equity multi-way actually, because I can't win now. I basically have to make a set. It doesn't go down in equity if it's 100 big blinds, but because of his stack depth, it's kind of annoying actually to play against. Not a great board for this guy, I was gonna say. The 8's and the 7 between us two, it's like not as appealing. The snap check is nice for me. I almost feel like just taking this hand and running with it. The issue is now if he has a 5 or a 6, the fish is probably calling. I'm probably lighting by betting here. Him being on the auto check is pretty promising though. Oh my god, we both had 3s. Maybe when it checks to me, I bluff river. Because this guy's pretty capped. He would have value bet anything. Even kings through jacks. Okay, they're both sitting me. Hopefully this game runs though. Oh, I'm showing this HUD stats. I don't know, man. It's so hard to like film these upload tables and then show. I don't have Zoom. I guess I could just disable PT. There's some people who film content with the HUD stats on. I don't know. If people have an insane problem for it, I'll just take down these videos eventually at some point. I really don't think it matters. If we're in a 78, I'm gonna take this. Forget this one a little bit. I feel like 10-6 gets in there. I know it's a 4 bet. Maybe it's just a pure call, honestly, because I never really do take it. I know it's not blind versus blind. Some of these spots get all mixed together. Blind versus blind, heads up. Play a little bit of heads up here. If this guy doesn't sit for a while, I'm just gonna sit out. I don't feel like playing heads up at 1K. Just calling. I'm gonna be raising this one pure. On these double lows, he does actually have to be pretty passive here, so we're gonna try and punish him for it. We have a lot of bluffs here, obviously, with the infinite number of suited hands we have, all the 5-3 and stuff like this. Yeah, I figured he's folding, but we unblock almost all his calling range. The deuce is not really too relevant, so definitely makes sense to size up. It probably prefers like bet 20 here. It's harder to play against probably for him. So they defend a little more, and those hands start to become a little more unintuitive than a B33 range. I'm gonna check here and try and win at showdown. He has to call hands worse than this, like Queen Jack, Jack 10. I feel like he gave away a little bit of a timing tell on the flop, so I think I'm gonna hero this river. Yeah, that's a terrible defend, and she will start to make some mistakes. I mean, you just gotta fold that pre-flop. I mean, on the flop. I mean, I think there's some ego thing where people just don't like folding flops to really small sizes. I'm gonna defend the 4 deuce here, and I don't get why. I mean, all you have to do is just go run a sim, and you can clearly see that it's completely fine to overfold these hands. When he sizes up, oh, he didn't size up big at all. I think we're gonna have to defend here. Why did I think he sized up big? He checks. I'm gonna bet here. We can make the nuts. Good enough of a reason to bet for me. Also, not to mention, we actually block his slow played ace-6. Ace-4, ace-deuce. We never win here. I like 10% from him here. 4.5 seems pretty good. That's fine. Guy's a good player. I'm gonna check back the non-club. I meant the non-BFD 6x. I don't mind betting now on the turn to fold out some shit. You don't really fold out anything that beats you is the issue. Fold out some Jack X is kind of nice, helps our equity, but I think we'll actually just double check this. Still be a good amount of shit. On this number, we will attack with this. This number, this gets in here, I'm pretty sure. I like half pot here. Under the 8's okay on this type of runout because the 8s are the cards that's paired. Oh yeah, blocking 8-7 of hearts is pretty nice. King 8 of diamonds as well. The King of diamonds is not the best card. It's a good card to barrel through. On blocking hands, I might want to float. Alright, I'm gonna sit out this shit and focus on these 3 tables because this is the issue with recording heads up. And giving away my heads up strategy, which it's fine because I'm not playing too much heads up. And then B, I'm mainly not here to teach you guys heads up. But you know, record a little bit for the video. On a 30 here, just gonna be calling. Yeah. Been recording 23 minutes, probably record like 35. One more interesting spot should be good. If you guys want 4 tables, you're gonna have to deal with less action. Check on 98s. I don't know. I'm just not buying it. I'm gonna give up this hand. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the checking down this hand. Having a club here is bad. We don't even block like a potential give up like ace queen and queen 10 of clubs. We're just gonna take our showdown. I'm curious what he has. I'm just not buying it. Ace queen. Yeah, I don't get why he would play it this way, but I don't think it's a check back on the flop. I think it's an easy range bet, especially with the ace of spades. You get called by a lot worse here when you have ace king no backdoor. With no diamond here, you get called by a lot worse. You get called by all the ace-6 of diamonds hands that have to continue, and then when an ace comes off, you stack them, and you actually can value bet your hand pretty profitably. And building a checking range on this board where you're like killing your opponent doesn't really make sense to me. I'll run this hand quickly. You guys can run it. I don't think I'm gonna review that one. I mean, I can put it in the description, but. Anyway, I forgot to mention, if you got to this point in the video, I managed to get my GTO Wizard affiliate, which is the solving program I use. I'm sure I'll mention it again when I start my studying portion of the video, but yeah, you can it's down in the description. If you click that link and sign up with that account, even if you just want to use the free features right now, when you buy it, you'll have the 10% off any purchase, so yeah. And same goes for my HUD software. It's free for micro stakes, and if you ever upgrade to higher stakes, you can just pay and it'll be 10% off if you sign up with the link in the description. Yeah, and I would appreciate it. It helps me out too. And I'm downswinging right now, so I could use it. all the products that I put in the description are products I've used before I started YouTube. There's not a single one I have that how do I say this? That I'm just using for the affiliates. All these products, as you can see, if you go to my first video, I'll be using both of them. So, well, back when I had like 10 subscribers. All right, we got a hand. The issue with this action. Let's see if there's something better here. There's nothing. Everyone's just sitting out everywhere. What happened here? Straight into flush. Oh, this is not an. I don't know. I was trying to like. Versus the recreational. I'm just gonna size up here and hope he has a pair that's not a 7. It doesn't fold it. Gonna check my shitty ace that I accidentally opened. Ace 9 here's close, and there's multiple callers. It's probably a fold, but given that one's a recreational and a mine, I'm just gonna check fold here. Kind of insanely fishy line, but given that it's a recreational, I will call. My range is probably the most uncapped of everyone here. You would bet, he would bet. I don't really expect anyone to be that strong, so I'm just gonna barrel through. I just think they're both too capped. Fours? Like, doesn't make any sense to me. But I think I just have to fold, unfortunately. It doesn't make any sense, but we have absolute. This is like the worst hand we would ever bluff with. It's like the bottom of our bluffing range. So I'm just gonna fold. I don't mind leading here. I'm just gonna go for it because I tanked this long. If I tank this long and check, I feel like he's gonna under c-bet. It's kind of crazy. I need to just work on just tanking every time when I play in these videos, but. And I'm gonna check this turn. Could probably bet small again. There's probably actually a lot of hands we can get value from here, like a lot of these overpairs with one heart. That beat us now. I'm just gonna check and fold. Don't think he has any bluffs here. I mean, he could have a hand like Queen Jack of Spades, Queen Jack of whatever the fuck. It's actually tempting to call, to be honest. I mean, it's just Jacks, Queens, and Kings, right? With a heart. You could have hand like Ace King with a heart. Ace Queen with a heart. Ace Jack. I feel like he bets turn. I feel like he just bets turn with those. I'm probably wrong. Oh, that was my read that he had in like Queen Jack. I don't know. They're like, I just think like if he has a hand with a heart, he's going to bet turn. And I need to make sure I call enough. He didn't bet big enough, right? I have to call. I have to be good like 25% of the time there. So yeah, maybe he's not even bluffing enough, and I just made a result-based call. But I think easy in that line, it's less appealing to bluff a hand like Queen Jack when he's checked to, or King Jack, or King Queen. And he has not too many offsuit versions of these hands, so he actually has a good amount of bluffs on the river. I'm gonna go with just a call here. Not playing any leads on this board. This is gonna be one of the more flushes we play aggressively. Yeah. People tend to oversee bet these boards, so over raising is pretty good. That just generally makes them more aggressive than they should be. Gonna check range now on when the heart completes. It's hard for us to have bluffs, but it's also like he just has the advantage. I'm gonna check in. I don't know. I don't know what that. I'm lost in the spot. I'll probably review it for you guys and give you guys a breakdown because I'm lost. Every time I have a thought about why things should work, then I have another thought why I should do something else. So That's what I thought. I thought he had a lot of two pair and stuff on this river that we can get value from when he checks back. But then I was also thinking like, so do we when we raise flop. So it's just like, I don't know. It's a weird spot. That being said, I don't mind. It's hard for him to really have any bluffs that call. So then I was like, maybe we just better off betting ourselves. Yeah, probably better off betting ourselves actually with the king. I think with a lower spade going to bluff, I mean lower heart going to bluff catching mode. The king, you can get value from a queen, jack, like jack 10. All these 9x hands with the offsuit other heart that check back that might not reopen river. You also get to pick your own size. I was just thinking we don't have a lot of bluffs as played. What hand are we bluffing though? So I was thinking like we can't size up, and then if we can't size up, maybe we're better off checking because I was gonna block bet. Because the issue with like bet 75 in this river is like he never has to call that often because it's not like we can have that many bluffs, right? So I will take a look at that one for you guys. I'm gonna fold 3x short stack. I don't know. You guys might think I'm crazy, but I've been recording for 31 minutes. Probably record for 10 more. Hopefully we can get a stack in somewhere. It's just a pure fold, I think. Three tables has been pretty slow paced, I'm gonna be honest. But hopefully I kept this flow of conversation going. I'm trying to play more limps. I don't know if I said that, but oh my god. It's kind of insane. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here, to be honest. I wish I had HUD. I don't have the balls to do it. For every spot that he has aces, I mean, I've seen so many where they have ace 9 off. I don't know. It's so weird. Man. I'm not running the best recently. I don't know. Maybe some gurus here can break this one down for me. I don't know. So he flats me here. Everyone's flatting. I do not know how to play the 5-way pots. It's a very profitable raise from him. I think I want to check range here. My hand is appealing to bet flop, but in reality, 73 is not high enough, but this guy's not aggressive as he probably should be, so I don't mind it. The fish behind me, does he have aces again? 10s is probably weak enough where I probably could. I don't know. I don't have the stomach to fold it. Let me know what you guys think. Because like, am I gonna fold it knowing? Like, I can't know. Like, maybe if I look at his HUD. This should be just half pot range here. The 5-6 is more of like an equity hand, and he has to call a lot of worse hands actually. So probably would slow down on depending on the turn. Definitely gonna be calling again when he sizes to 2 cents. If he shoves, I fold. If he bets 2 cents again, I call. It's about this. It's about my strategy there. I'm pretty sure he has a draw. Oh, he just bingoed me. It's kind of right on the assumption on the flop he had a draw, but I guess he kind of had that middling portion of a hand where he had like he hit his ace. Oh man. Pretty sure I'm down like over 3k on pre-flop today. Not the most fun. But yeah. How long have I been recording for? 34 minutes. There'll be some hands to go into in depth with. I'm gonna probably play one or two more interesting hands. See if he shoves all in again. 185, gonna 3-bet this in. If this guy goes all in, guys, I'm gonna just call him. I don't know what to tell you. Looks like he's timing out. Heads up here, gonna leave next blind. I believe there's a 3x we can default this. I'm gonna be wrapping up the video in a sec here. Jacks, I think, on a 14. I guess we'll call it a 14. And with the double bad suit here, I think when you see if it's flop, I'm just gonna be jamming this. I'm blocking my opponent to have the hands that I might want to call. Gonna size down here versus the short stack. Gonna probably just go bet, 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 and hope he doesn't have king 10 or ace queen. Alright. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to stay tuned for the studying portion of the video, which will be in about a second. And yeah, I'm out. See ya. You're starting off with the first hand. If you guys are curious about using this program, I have a link in the description for 10% off. You can do a lot of things for free, such as pre-flop, stuff like this. I don't know all of theirs. I have the highest tier version where I get the AI simulations where I can pick my own sim and do basically everything I possibly can that I would want to. Yeah. So here, my opponent, you're supposed to play b20. I mean, he sizes up to b33. It's not the end of the world. I'm just gonna keep it as b20 for the sake of the sim. Here my hand's actually doing either. Oh shit. I screwed it up. Here my hand's actually doing either. It looks like you much rather raise a hand like king 5 of hearts than king 3 of hearts. Interestingly enough, it must have something to do with... Yeah, your opponent's for some reason not betting his king 5 of hearts as often, which means he's more likely to have... Or his 5 of hearts as often, which means he's more likely to have a flush with the 3 of hearts. I guess that's the idea. Like 10 5 of hearts pure checking. I mean, he doesn't have 10 3 of hearts. Anyway, I don't know if that's the full reason, but yeah, it looks like it's basically the same amount of EV. So you can just raise or fold. I would decide more exploitive on your opponent, since you guys are not going to be playing on cyborgs. What to do there? The point is you can do both. I think that's the takeaway. Not much 3-betting going on. There's no need on these boards. On the turn, I was kind of right. You can basically just check your range. I mean, you can play this B20 strategy, but I prefer to simplify and check range. I think it's easier for your opponent to make more mistakes into and stuff. Unless you have a read that your opponent's a station, yeah, or he's never going to bluff you, and you have a hand that you want to get value with. Yeah, then that's completely fine. On the turn here, you can see he's basically only reopening to an ace of hearts or not. Yeah, the jack heart's just checking back. Basically, this hand just runs around between the ace of hearts and the queen of hearts. His main bluffs are going to be, let me filter for it, his trash hands, all the 6x he floats, and I'm assuming some of this 4x. It's going to be some of his barrels here, like a hand like a6. Unblocking a lot of my folding range, and yeah, not really blocking my flop raising for value range. Maybe occasionally it blocks a 2-pair that might fold, but yeah, 2-pair might continue one more street anyway, so it's a pretty good bluff on the turn. And when we get to the river here, it's basically between 125 and 175. I guess it's worth splitting this range. I would simplify for what it's worth, probably to 125. In the sense of I don't think... Actually, you can value at King X for that size. So it really comes down to your opponent. Your main bluffs here are kind of unintuitive to find, so I would really advise overfolding the spot. If you look at the spot, like what I was saying, it's hard for us to have bluffs. We basically have to take our 10-7, our queen jack, and our 4 deuce. 5-3 is a made hand. 4-3 it doesn't like betting. Oh yeah, 2-pair it doesn't like betting. Because your opponent's gonna actually have a lot of 1-pair combos, so there's no point in really trying to bluff them off them. If you look, the main intent behind betting 125 is you're gonna see hands like, I'm assuming ace 9, 10-9, queen 9. in the folding range here. All these hands 2-pair beats, and it's really hard for you to have a flop raising value range. If you look at the raising range on the flop, that doesn't get there by the river. I'm assuming you're gonna have some queen tens and stuff on the river as well. Does that not mind bluffing? Oh, it looks like queen ten's a pure give up. In practice, if you end up with queen 10 here, I don't mind firing. I think the spot is super hard to find bluffs here. And if you have a hand with 0 showdown, I think you should just go with it and not worry too much about your blocker properties. I'm assuming it's your opponent has a lot of folds with his 10x, like a hand like Jack 10. Stuff like this. 10-9, I guess, yeah. Anyway, on to the next hand. Alright, on to the next hand. As you can see, we're checking flop with a really high frequency. This is the hand we had Jack 5 of hearts in, which on the flop is going to be a pure check. Yeah, just having to play really passively on these boards out of position. And so you'll have a lot of hands that just miss the board. I'm mainly looking at a lot of these hands, and it's pretty easy for your opponent to play very aggressively into you in position, as there's a lot of turn cards that can come off that change the action, and runouts in general, just rivers and turns. Opponent likes to play a b75 or check strategy. He went for the check back with the ace-9, which actually is a pretty preferred strategy in general. So yeah, I guess we're going to be check raising him a lot there. On the turn here, half pot's a preferred strategy. That's the size we went for. My hand's almost pure betting half. Actually, it's mixing. Betting a lot of the other ones. Opponent here finds the raise. It was raising 100, but I changed it to 75 for the sake of the video. And we are going to be seeing he raises us about half the time. And then here, our 3 bets are obviously going to come from this region. I'm liking the Jack hearts here because we unblock a hand like Jack 10. It doesn't like doing it curiously enough with the Jack 6. I guess it's just, it actually has enough equity from calling, and it doesn't want to risk getting shoved off the hand. Jack 5 is kind of that sweet spot where you can get shoved, and you don't want to hate yourself as much as you hate it with the Jack 5. And I'm sure there's other blocker properties, but I try not to get into them too much in the video, as it's not as, I don't think that is as useful for you guys, because a lot of these blockers are really dependent on your opponents playing an exact certain type of way, and you guys are not playing versus GTO bots. So yeah, in general, it's important to just get the concepts and stick with them. And then you can actually, once you understand the concepts, understand what your opponents aren't doing and use those to exploit your opponents. So yeah, in general, Jack 10 raising here more often when you don't have a heart. And yeah, makes sense. And then here our opponent goes for the call. And then on the river, which is the main spot of the hand, I'm jamming this most of the time. Or not most of the time, but jamming it pretty often. I will say, I think I'm supposed to raise a little bigger on the turn there when I'm ripping mainly Jack 10. And I didn't. And if I did, it would have been a shove on the river. But it looks like you prefer not to have this Jack, I guess. I don't feel like the Jack has really any equity. As you can see, it basically never wins. It makes 0 equity from checking. So there's no scenario when you check it, you should win. But it just doesn't like the blocker effect, I guess. Blocking your opponent from having a hand with the Jack of Hearts, I guess, is just too relevant. So yeah, as you can see, it looks like it prefers these King 5 and Queen 5 of Hearts hands to go for the jam. But yeah. Alright, sticking with the mono theme, I'm gonna go with the last hand of the video. I'm pretty sure all these boards were hearts. I don't know. GG just is crazy. Anyway, on to the last hand of the video. Oh, I guess the other one, it was a mono flop. So there's just a lot of flush draws involved, a lot of hearts. We find the lead here. I mean, it's just you can do it if you want. I mean, it's a pretty low frequency play. You can simplify the range check. I like playing a little bit of leads. I think it's tougher to play against. People usually don't play aggressive enough back on them, and you kind of get to control the flow. And yeah. Moving on to the turn. This is a really good card for your leading range, and I kind of missed that in game. I should be playing very aggressive. I was thinking he has a lot of hearts, but he's going to be raising a good amount of these flush draws. That's not even the main reason. I think it's just mainly the types of hands you want to lead in the spot are going to be hands. Oh, not hearts. But yeah, like if you were to sum it up, if we took a look at the ranges tab here, you would see the UTG player does have more flushes by a decent amount. The overall equity in the advantage in the hand, even though you're called, is actually in favor of the end of the gun player. So even though he had called, which is very rare, so we've thinned his range. We still have like a starting range is ahead of him. Yeah, but on the turn here, Queen Jack, the hand he had, is actually checking back, so good find by him. And yeah, just gonna be mainly stabbing with a lot of these ace highs. Funny enough, it seems to be preferred. I guess a hand like Queen Jack is just has too much equity. I guess it doesn't want to get raised. I briefly go over these hands. Normally when I'm studying by myself, I go too in depth, but it would just be too long of a video. Let me know if you guys want to see a pure studying video where I kind of just waste a bunch of your time and go over hands. But for me, I do take a little bit, so this is not exactly how I study. I'm just briefly going over the hands with you guys so you can get a couple conclusions. But normally I'll just click a bunch of buttons, go back and forth, and really figure it out. That's what I really recommend you guys do if you have a solver yourselves. Just really figure out, like for example, here I'd figure out, go to the other spot, why is Queen Jack checking? I would bet and see, oh, maybe it loses EV. Use the reports tab to see different. You can't do it for the AI sims, which is what I'm currently running, but you can see the equity on different turn cards and stuff like this, like the turn cards where your hands gain equity. Maybe I'll do a whole video going through it all with you guys, but yeah. And anyways, on the river here, mainly just checking. Obviously not a great river. Here I node locked. My opponent's not really supposed to be playing a half pot sizing. It's just not preferred. He does find the half pot though, and we have a pretty easy time calling with the 10-9. I will say if he finds 175 here, which I think is like a tougher sizing to play against, our hand is actually calling. If I were to increase the range heights, I'm not supposed to have 10-9 of clubs that much because it's supposed to pure c-bet turn. If you're wondering why it's so hard to find, but the little bit we do have does prefer calling over the other two. For whatever reason, you'll probably get into blocker effects on the turn and like thinning the range and stuff like this. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, I'm out.